Okay, we're live. Hey, we made it past Memorial Day weekend. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Thank you for tuning in today. Every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, or as many Tuesdays at 1 o'clock as I can, we go live with the Pat Miller Show. Now, this is my new pet project. New pet project, meaning it's only about this big. But I have turned to you, my trusted network that I love, and asked if you could come on and help me get this thing off the ground, because I'm having so much fun helping to grow, fix, and celebrate small business nationwide. And this is the show where you can call in with a question or a comment, maybe an opportunity you're trying to capture, or you've got a small business celebration and you tell us what you did, and then we can learn from you so we can follow in your successful footsteps. But this show is recorded right here on social media, and then I put it out as a podcast as well. Now look at me in the eyes. Do you see me? Do you see me? Do you know me? I want to take this show on the radio, and I want to take this show nationwide. And the only way I'm going to do that is with your help. So thank you for tuning in today. Thank you to our callers today for coming on. And this is where it all starts. So maybe, hopefully, if I get lucky, you can say you were here at the beginning. So with that, I think we should start the show. We've got 4 callers standing by: Brent and Nancy and Dan and Sheila. Thank you all for coming on. And if you feel like coming on to the show, we do have 1 extra slot available. Click the link that's on your screen. We can fit you in at the end of the program. So with that, let's start the music. Let's start the show. It's game time. Here we go.
Here we go. Broadcasting from the small business capital of America. This is WIIFM Milwaukee, an Idea Coach station.
Uniting the states of small business for the nation's largest mastermind. This is the Pat Miller Show, where we help small businesses, solopreneurs, and side hustlers one by one, live without a net. I'm your host, Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Thank you so much for joining us today. Small business is lonely and hard, but together we're here to grow, fix, and celebrate your small business. And when you listen in and join the show, you're backed by the Idea Collective for Small Business Owners. We are here to support you on your journey. It's your dream. Don't grow it alone. Speaking of, you're a part of the show just by listening along or joining on our social media feed. Listen into the questions from today's guests. And if you think of something that I miss, which is probably pretty likely, feel free to reach out to them on their social media handles or into the chat. Every thought counts as we try and grow their business. Also, if you want to be on the show, or you want to hear the playback, or send in your wins, hit up patmillershow.com and you can reserve your spot on the program. So with that, sit back, relax, and maybe you'll pick up something along the way. We'll definitely have some fun along the way. There's no doubt about that. All right, so let's get down to business. Our first caller today, Nancy Schwab, is joining us. Nancy, great to see you. Tell everyone who you are, what you do, and how we can help you today.
Hey, Pat, thank you. My name is Nancy Schwab. I am the resident app mama at Unleash Mobile Apps, and we are a mobile app strategy firm. So today, we have just recently launched our new app called EasyBZ app. And I'm in conjunction with 2 other partners. And this is an app that is for home service businesses that need to manage their routes, their crews, and be able to handle their day all from the go because they're always out in the field. My question today is, how do we get this in the hands of our target audience? We have done a little bit of social, participating in groups, but we're just not really getting the message across correctly. That's what we need some help with today.
Okay, so what does success look like? Like, how many of these folks would you have to have in the field to get the ball rolling? If you could get a beta test out there with 5 or 10 businesses in different regions, or are you just looking for one business? What are you looking for?
What we're looking for is anybody who is in the landscaping, or their window cleaners, et cetera, the smaller businesses that service homes, to come in and join our lifetime subscription right now, which we do have up on our website. And we are looking for them to be our beta testers, to be able to get that information back to us. So really, ideally would be about 50 to 100 people who can join in on this lifetime subscription so that they can tell us how to improve this app and help us spread the word.
Okay. So who already has a credit card relationship with those businesses so you could jump on? And the person that I'm thinking is a payment processor or some other credit card payment kind of program where you could approach the person that's already doing business with them and offer the app as a gift through the payment processor for them to test. So you could say, hey, you've already got a credit card relationship with these businesses. Maybe you could give them free access to our program as a sponsored beta test by the credit card processor in order to get that introduction to those small businesses.
That's brilliant. We had not thought of that. Yeah. We were looking to figure out how to find the right influencer. Another area we were thinking about was possibly some insurance people who would have that same relationship, but credit card processing, that is brilliant. That is definitely a route for us to take a look at. That is a new stream. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. I hope that can work for you. I would think whenever I'm trying to build partnerships like that one, I'm always thinking about who has a shared but different target audience. Like we're targeting the same people, but they're not competitive. So the credit card payment processor is not a competitor of yours, but you're both targeting the same audience at the end. So that's kind of how I triangulated my way to get there. And then you could also duplicate that. Like you mentioned, an insurance company. That's another group that's trying to reach that particular target audience. So I want to make sure that everyone gets to hear about the app though. So tell us more about the app and why it's special and why one of these companies would want to utilize it.
Yeah, thank you. What's wonderful about our app, it actually was created by our president, Shannon, who is a landscaper, and she was finding that there was no software out there to help her manage her crews on a daily basis, even an hourly basis. So we ended up creating Easy Beasy for her in specific. And then we realized there's so many other businesses that could use this. So oftentimes you will get a phone call that a job has to cancel or it has to move. Well, now you're trying to communicate with your routes. You're trying to find your crew member. You're texting. You're using Google Drive, using all these different tools, and a lot of things get missed. Now you just have to very easily open up your app and you can move that job over to a different route, or you can make a note on there. Your crews will know what they're doing at all times. It'll do check-ins and you'll be able to manage your time and you'll be able to see where your crew is at. Plus, you can leave different notes. Like, let's say you found out that a main road going into the subdivision is blocked. So you can leave a note for your crew to say, take a different route. And you can do all of this right from your phone. You can also do it from the desktop, but your crews have it on their phone so they know what to do every day as well.
It sounds like a huge time saver.
It is. It'll save time and money. It's just amazing.
Well, one other thought as you were sharing there is who else helps manage those people? So is there a paycheck processor that you could approach, or an accountant, or an outsourced HR company, and have them go through the window of, we care about your people and we want their employment experience to be better. So we have this opportunity for you to be a part of this beta test. Another group that's targeting the same audience, but it's coming at them from a different perspective. So that might be another opportunity.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Fantastic. You've opened up my mind now to start thinking of these joint relationships that we can actually support and help each other instead of us trying to do it one at a time. And that's where we were struggling. We were getting one at a time, people that we knew that were in the business, although a great way to market, but not to scale it. So
exactly right.
This has been helpful because it does save these people time and money. And that's the best thing. And they can do it all right from their phone. You know, for me, it makes it a very happy day.
Happy day. I see what you did there. Very good. Nancy Schwab, thank you for calling in today. I really appreciate it. Okay, so that's how it's supposed to work. You share something that's on your mind, and then we talk it out. Because here's the secret, and don't tell anyone. I'll deny this if you repeat it. You know the answer. We just have to talk it out and look at things from a different perspective, and you'll figure it out. Also, if you're watching the show, if you've got thoughts for Nancy or any of the other callers on the show today, drop them into the chat or hit them up on their social media, because it is a team effort today. That is for sure. Up next on the Pat Miller Show, we've got Brent Halfwasson. Brent, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming on the show. Tell us all about who you are, what you do, and how we can help you today.
Hey, Pat, thanks a lot. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I want to throw that out for you in the radio world.
I love that. That's awesome.
Hey, I run Halfwasson Associates, an entrepreneur coaching business. Our goal is to help empower entrepreneurs to find the money, means, and mindset to be able to unleash their business. Whether that's probably an in-process, already in-business entrepreneur who got into business and discovered that the reality didn't look much like their plan. They've run into an obstacle, they've hit a roadblock, and my goal is to help turn those obstacles into positive outcomes, those roadblocks into results, and ultimately help them focus on one or two key metrics that they can watch, that if they know those are working for them, the financials will work out. Because it's usually when the finances don't match the reality, you're just having a real tough time getting it to go the way you want to. That's the place where I want to step in and help people out.
I love that. And I love the way that you describe the business as well, because when that reality hits and the roadblocks pop up, that prevents them from hitting the results. So thank you for describing what you do. What's on your mind today? Is there something we can kick around?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started out into the supporting the entrepreneur ecosystem, I was working a lot with the startup ideation, very, very early phase. And I'm more passionate. I've discovered when the handful of clients that I get that are really in that sweet spot I just described, those entrepreneurs who are in business, want to keep accelerating, and have just hitting some roadblocks, particularly when they're financially based. That's where my expertise comes in. I'm trying to figure out how to build more pipeline, because my initial network was in that earlier space that I don't think are quite ready to honestly make the financial investment in me or in the coaching that may be necessary in order to bring them to that next level. So I want to figure out how to shift my focus, build that pipeline, and start bringing some folks in.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you need to get to where the roadblocks are. It's not to get where the customers are. You need to get to where the roadblocks are. So if you think of your ideal customer, where do the roadblocks come in to someone that's scaling, that's already been in business, that then had a surprise roadblock? What are some of the common roadblocks that they run into?
Well, some of the common I think you're close to where I'm going, and I think this is worth exploring. I think one of the common roadblocks that people encounter is always an expectation that revenue will come with the cost that you planned on. I've almost never been in a scenario. I always tell people, like, plan on having your revenue and doubling your costs. They're like, what? You don't even know my business. I'm like, I don't have to. Like, I've seen about 500 of them. That's how they all go. And then what are you going to do? And that's probably the main first one that is sort of disappointing when people hit it. They're like, oh, what's happening? It's either costing too much or it's not getting enough revenue.
Okay. So do you create content now? Do you have any groups right now? Are you bringing people together? And if so, how are you doing that?
Yeah, I've just started producing some more content. I'm working on a white paper right now around some funding sources with friends and family and with bootstrapping. I feel like the words are tossed out a lot, and then people quickly move on to say, let's talk about private equity or something else. So that's a place for developing content. As far as a gathering, I host something called Entrepreneur Encounters, and I try and draw entrepreneurs together to say, let's talk about your challenges. What's next? Let's get in a group where you can get people who can support you, because entrepreneurship and small business feels lonely, but it doesn't have to be lonely. If you choose to let it be lonely. And so I'm providing that space to be able to build that out. I got a small following. And I'd love to be able to build that as part of this key to offering.
So when you get them together, how focused can you be on profit and cash flow? Because it sounds like when you say double the cost and half the profit, it sounds to me like you really need to be focused on those few words. If that's where the pain point of they think they're doing well and then they're not, and that's when you can ride in and save them, owning those words and owning that topic sounds to be the ideal roadblock, or at least one of the roadblocks that you might want to own. Is there a way you can own those two scenarios for the business?
That's a good, I think it's a good way to reframe everything I'm sharing. I spoke with someone recently who said, hey, look, talking about finances for a lot of people is almost the most uncomfortable thing they can do. There's a lot of other taboo topics they would probably weigh in on before they talk about finances. So I think starting to talk more about the relationship between operations and your financials, as much as it may seem obvious, it isn't for a lot of people. And I think just encouraging folks to say, look, let's start to delve in I don't want to use phrases like P&L and whatever. I'm a finance guy. That flows freely for me. Doesn't flow freely for anyone else. But to dive into, let's start getting into one aspect and really let's explore that and dig into it, because I find so much commonality among entrepreneurs if we can start a conversation.
Well, the thought I have for you, first of all, whenever I work with people around this type of scenario, when they know way more about the subject than their target audience, is to make sure that you're using Fisher-Price language. You want to use see the ball, hit the ball, simple words. Like, don't think that you're impressing people by using the big words, because they won't understand what you're talking about. Or to your point, they'll get scared away. Yeah. So where I'm going for you is, okay, what if you were to take your Entrepreneurial Encounters group and come up with a new program that's open to all called Profit Payday? And on the 1st and 15th of every month, you're talking about profit. And it's all built around the payday concept, where you're getting people together. And the only reason why they're getting together is to talk about how they're doing with their cash flow, how are they doing with their profit margins. And maybe you have different topics that come up on the 1st and the 15th of every month. But on the 1st and the 15th, you're doing different topics that relate to that pain point. It may bring in people that don't know you exist because everyone's interested in that topic, but it might also give you a series of topics you can talk about inside your current group as well. You see where maybe that's not the right fit, but that's the type of thing that I'm going for, because it's Fisher-Price language and everybody understands it. Does that make sense?
No, I love it. Profit and payday are two things I think just about everyone can get behind and understand. And I'm tracking with the simplicity, and I appreciate that feedback.
Oh, simplicity is about all you get from me, because that's about all I understand when it comes to profit margin and money and stuff like that. That's why you're on the planet. We all need people like you, for sure. Brent, thanks so much for calling in today. We really appreciate it. And if you want to be on the show, we've got room for one more caller. If you want to hit the link that's on the screen, ideacoachmedia.com/call. If you've got a challenge or an opportunity, or you've got a small business celebration, and we've got one of those coming up. Sheila is on the air in just a few moments. I think she wrote a book, which is something worth celebrating. We will hear from Sheila, and we'll talk to Dan and maybe you coming up on the Pat Miller Show after this. Okay, we just went to commercial. That was kind of fun. Yeah, see, we're in commercial. La, 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 we're in commercial. And if you're watching on the stream, you're behind the scenes with me now, because that's where the commercials are going to go, because we like money, right? Let's restart the show. Welcome back to the Pat Miller Show, where we grow, fix, and celebrate small business. I'm your host, Pat Miller, the Idea Coach, and we've got room for one more caller today. If you want to come on the air and you want to talk about a challenge or an opportunity that you have in your business, or maybe you want to call in with a small business celebration. Those are my favorite, because we get to hear about someone that did the thing and had a big success. And on the air now for a small business celebration is Sheila Long. Sheila, thanks for coming on. Before we start the celebration, tell us who you are, what you do, and then share the good stuff. We want to hear all about it.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This is great. My name's Sheila. I run Malama Dough, a co-working community for women in Shorewood. I also have a podcast called Head of the Table Podcast. And I just wrote this book called Surrounded by Awesome Women. It came out about 2 weeks ago.
That's so exciting. So
thanks.
2 weeks ago it came out. How long have you been working on the book?
For a little over a year. It's writing the book, but it's an incubator model that I developed a few years ago, and I've been handing out on tours. And when the pandemic hit, I thought it was a great opportunity to just put it in a book and share the knowledge.
That's awesome. So tell us what's in the book and why we should go buy it, right? Like, drop everything, turn off this stupid show and go buy the book. Tell us about it.
It's about celebrating courageous women as they go and pursue new realities. And there's also some resources in there. And it's really like a chicken soup for the soul type of book. There's stories of over like 40 women business owners in there, and how they've had to like take different paths in life and start businesses. And even as they've grown their business or their brand, they've gone through different obstacles, and they've had to persevere. So it kind of helps you realize that you're not alone.
I don't think you've hit adulthood until you've told yourself, I want to write a book. I think everybody says that at some stage in their life. When did you decide, not only I should write a book, but darn it, I'm going to write a book. How did you do that?
My sister, actually, she wrote a book called Disconnected through a book writing course through Georgetown University. And she actually convinced one of the person teaching the course to open it up to the public. And so I watched her go through that process. And then a year later, I entered the class.
Okay. So how did the class help you? What did they do? Keep you on track or teach you how to do it? What was it like?
The class is just absolutely amazing. You meet every week with a mentor, and also, I'm sorry, I lost you here on the screen.
That's okay.
All right, and you meet every week with a class, and then also you're meeting with an editor. So I met with an editor for about 11 months.
That sounds amazing. And I would imagine that amount of accountability really kept you on track.
It did keep you on track. And then I also had a lot of beta readers. So you go through like a pre-funding, you sell the books ahead of time. So we sold those in December. I sold over $5,000 worth of books. And then the people who pre-ordered the book had the option to be a beta reader. So I had over 70 beta readers. And so they gave me a lot of feedback. And they did tell me I would rewrite the book 3 times. And I thought that was just for like the young college kids. But no, they were right. I did. I rewrote it 3 times because all the beta readers are my friends telling me that I really needed to change some chapters. So it's been definitely looked at by a lot of people.
All right. Well, congratulations. Looking back on it now, is it the type of thing that you'll do again, or you wrote a book and you're done? Do you have the bug, or was it too big of a thing to do twice?
Right now, I'm just happy to start the public relations.
Yeah.
I need a little break. So this was my first interview. So thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Tell us one more time how we can get our hands on the book if someone wants to read it.
It's on Amazon.com, and it's called Surrounded by Awesome Women.
Okay. Sounds awesome. Sheila, congratulations on writing a book, something we've all wanted to do, and you actually did. That is definitely worth celebrating. Sheila, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. All right. On the show, we've got one more caller. Dan Berlinski is joining us. Dan, thank you so much for coming on. It's great to see you. Tell us who you are, what you do, and how we can help you today.
Well, my name's Dan Berlinski. My company is now Able One Services, LLC. Woohoo! So people have been saying you finally need to start your own company, because really people would hire me on, steal my ideas, and then say hit the pavement. So here I am, back again, reincarnated, and just trying to educate people that my biggest problems are, one, small businesses before they sign up for Spectrum services. I'm like an insurance broker, except I can, they can buy it from me. For them, I can do a lot more before they order, right? But even after, I'm willing to help them to hopefully get a referral. So that's one of my problems, getting the word out that way. And then 2, working with more IT and service providers that are local, small companies that aren't making money off of the voice and internet services that they could be. And I can show them kind of, what I do, and then they can either decide, hey, I'd rather just send Dan the referral. I do pay referral fees, which are very generous. And, that's really it, man. I appreciate you being on. I think your show is going to be a hit.
Well, I appreciate that. Let's talk about the business for a second. So does your business grow? Which one's preferable, just for the sake of our conversation today, to talk about how to get small businesses interested in talking to you, or how to get IT firms and other providers to talk to you? Which one do you want to dig into?
I think IT providers, because they can bring me a lot more clients quicker.
Okay. And how do you go about getting their attention now? Are you having success there?
I'm having more success because I've been in the game now, and I worked for Spectrum for a few years, and there's some credibility of how to navigate through some of those larger projects. But it's more of them, kind of, they don't know what they know, and they kind of view me as a competitor in some regards, whereas I just want to let them say, hey, no, you can deal with their Office 365 upgrades. I'll gladly hand those customers over. I just want to help them with their voice, internet, unified, some basic security stuff, nothing, it's more of a partnership, really. So it's kind of unique in that regard. There isn't a lot of people running around doing what I'm doing, according to the channel. And that's what I work through is I'm a channel value added, trusted advisor, however you want to look at it. And I'm just trying to get my name and word out there. And my biggest problem is just, how can I help you pick up the phone when I call? And like I say, I've made thousands of cold calls, so I can do it, and I'm just trying to reach out today to the audience.
No, and I think that makes sense. The thing that comes to mind for me, and I just want to make sure I understand the relationship correctly, is that if I'm an IT service provider and you want to have my services bundled into what you can offer, you're actually selling more of my product on my behalf, aren't you? Putting me in more businesses?
Absolutely. I refer back. Exactly.
All right. So it's really a no risk addition to their sales force.
Yep.
So
yeah, agreed.
So if you were to put it that way, saying, hey, IT company, how would you like to have an extra seller for free? I can help you with that.
And I've done that. And I was sold office products, back in the day. The best client for me vertically would be like a James office, equipment. Sure. I've tried to meet with some of those, if somebody can put me up with them, get an appointment with any of those. Once I show them, and if the market's big enough and they understand like that I can create more revenue streams without adding overhead, as well as, finding customers where, dude, the world of connectivity is changing by the hour now, and wireless is crazy growing. So, if you didn't have good high-speed internet and you're not happy with it, dude, give me a buzz. We'll check. I can throw your address in my tool immediately, identify up to a half a dozen providers you never heard of that have gray or dark fiber. So, like I said, I just invite people to have more conversations this summer. And, if I can help any small business out there now that's, either struggling with or don't understand how to, which I think the best thing I can help is, like I talk about, the cold callers.
Yeah.
I can eliminate that for most of you and make you look as cool as I do in my mobile office here.
Yeah, you do look devastatingly handsome in your mobile office there, I'll tell you that. The last thing that I would share is that I would think proof of performance would be a great way to get the attention of not only the IT providers, but also the small business customers. And the thing that comes to mind for me is, for the IT providers, is almost like a stock chart that's showing in the last 90 days, I've connected 41 small businesses with IT companies just like yours, and you keep a running tally. So when you're calling into them, there's a double entendre here with connectivity, because you help people with their connectivity. And if you're helping IT companies connect with new clients, there's some language here you could work. And then on the other side, the other thing I was thinking, as far as for new customers, I would think it would be really cool to go to the new customers and say, this month, we've already saved our small business customers $13,000. Like, you're taking all the customers and figuring out how much money you save for that group. And then that number would change every single month, but it would almost be like a stock market. You'd show your proof of performance. And then, of course, all the best practices of just making solid connections with people, showing up, how can I help, and earning the relationships that way. But Dan, it sounds like you're doing great work. And you said dark fiber and gray fiber. I don't even know what that stuff is. So similar to Brent, who was on the call earlier today, glad you're here, because I don't even know what you're doing, but I'm sure you can save us all money. So thanks for coming on the show today, Dan. We appreciate it. Okay, so that wraps up this edition of the Pat Miller Show. We helped 4 different small businesses today, and maybe we helped you by listening to the challenges and opportunities that our callers faced. If you want to come on the show and talk about what's going on in your business, either to capture an opportunity or overcome a challenge, hit up patmillershow.com and we can get you on an upcoming episode. And if you want to feel this experience every single day and have small business owners helping you out in your journey, you might want to check out the Idea Collective collaboration community 24/7, 365. The members of that group are helping each other grow their businesses. You can find out more about the Idea Collective at patmillerideacoach.com. I'm Pat Miller. Thanks for tuning in today, and we'll see you next week. Okay, and we're done. If you watched on the stream, thank you so much for tuning in, and we're going to go talk to the rest of the callers now. We'd love to have you on an upcoming episode.